I'm Felix, and today we're gonna do a session 0. Yeah, okay, I completely forgot how to do an intro, but this is an intro now. Yes, we're going to do a session 0 in one of my favorite systems, which is Mutant Year 0. An excellent system. I realized I haven't played it for 3 years, and they've actually updated the book since I've last read it. But we can figure that out. It's fine. Fair warning, there will be some on-the-fly translating, because my book is in Swedish, and no one else here speaks Swedish.
Yep.
But that's...
It's a minor issue. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's
all
fine.
good.
Yeah, I've translated everything I have to say anyway, so it's really just not that different. But I have Google Translate up, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long story short, Mutant Year Zero is a game fundamentally about survival and exploration in a post-apocalyptic Sweden. Specifically Sweden, because there's very few games set in Sweden, and that's the way we like it.
Was that
So, yeah,
you like not having many games set in Sweden? Or
well, like,
you just
listen,
want
we have-
to specialize?
we have one games company that makes games set in Sweden, and they're fine.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so you all will be playing mutants in this post-apocalyptic world that you didn't really know how you ended up in, more than you were born into it. And everything is fucked, and that's just the way that life is. And there are plenty of ruins about the world that was before, few of which you actually understand.
Okay.
Yeah. Quickly
The
first.
world is so bad we don't even get a V8. I mean, what kind of a post-apocalyptic world is it when you don't get
Yeah.
a nice black V8?
Okay. Hello, Shard. Right. Although there's 3 of us in visual chat on this stream, Shard Angel is, I believe, going to be playing the game. He's just, unfortunately, what's that? Oh yeah, working.
Ugh.
So definitely not chatting on Twitch at work, just in case Shard's boss happens to be watching. Absolutely. He's sending messages telepathically. It's fine.
Yes. Does anyone, before we start getting into the nitty-gritty of character creation, does anyone have any questions about this system or setting in general?
I know, embarrassingly, I know very, very little about Mutant Year Zero entirely.
Well,
I've
the
glanced
core
over.
system,
Yeah.
because the Year Zero rule set was later used to make Coriolis, which I have run for Drat and Nightbites
Yup.
and Mechiodon. So the basics of rolling dice, you've got that down.
Yeah, I know how to roll dice.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Okay. Sorry.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, it's basically the same, except can you press your dice rolls in Coriolis?
Coriolis has a system called Darkness Points.
Yes,
And
which Mutant does not have.
so
from decision.
in Coriolis you can... I don't know, it's ages since I ran the damn thing. I think, you can get a reroll in return for giving me a darkness point,
Yes.
possibly, and
Yes.
I, as GM, get to spend darkness points to do horrible things to you.
Yeah.
Yes. In this system, you can press your dice. What it means, however, though, is that you will take damage for, like, you will most likely succeed, but you will also take some damage.
Oh.
Well, you're more likely to succeed, still a percentual chance, and you're also have an ability to get more mutant points back by pressing your... So it's like risk-reward kind of thing. And mutant points can be used to activate your mutations, which is a very core mechanic of the game, because you will all be horribly mutated in different ways, because this is Mutant Year Zero. And
That,
weird
again,
things
is
have
something
been
that
going on.
Coriolis uses darkness points for. There are a number of abilities in Coriolis where, in order to use it, you've got to give the GM a darkness
Yes,
point.
yeah, exactly. We have the icons, correct? Yeah.
Similar
So this is
kind of similar concept, just the systems are geared towards the specific setting, which I like, that they haven't just taken it exactly the same in each
Yes.
one, but they've adjusted it to fit.
Yes, and there is possibility to get new mutation as well. Whenever you use a mutation, there is always a chance that your mutation might backfire. Your mutation is like a very core part of your DNA and your being, but it takes a toll on your body and your mind depending on the mutation to use. And there's always a chance of it going terribly wrong, or terribly well, or just going some direction.
Do we think it's possible to, just picked out of the air as a random example, have eyes that emit alpha rays and can therefore see inside and through?
That's a completely random example, isn't it?
It is a completely
it's in no
random
way
example.
based on any long-running 2000 AD comic strips that you may or may not have heard.
Look, just because I would then actually feel justified having a large Viking companion. It strikes me as this is a game where you could do that.
Yes,
Good old
possibly.
So, Johnny Alpha, Strontium Dogs.
No idea.
Well
Very
worth
British
googling.
comic 2000 AD.
If all the mutants in this were bounty hunters, you'd be on the right track.
It is set in the same universe as Judge Dredd, so
yes.
the movie Dredd, for those who haven't come across the
I've
comics.
seen it.
But later on in the timeline, so there have been a couple of crossovers whereby there's a lot of time travel technology in Strontium Dog. So there were a couple of crossovers where Johnny Alpha travelled back in time to Mega City 1 chasing after a criminal, and Dredd obviously attempted to arrest him, because that's what Dredd does.
Fair enough.
Yep.
But yes,
Okay.
so in the setting you will all be playing mutants in a settlement called the Arcs. There are more than your Arcs spread about the zone, which is the place you play in. But they're few far between, and you rarely go so far out from the Arc that you actually meet other civilizations and settlements. There's a constant struggle for food and water and bullets, which you use both as for trading as currency, but also for shooting people,
Oh my God,
which is a different kind of
Sinking
currency.
It is Sinking City.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Possibly.
Yes, bullets.
Bullets, currency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bottle caps as currency.
Which is
Also,
that's one of my favorite
Necro.
post-apocalyptic currencies, by the way. Just because that means with every shot you're wasting money.
Yes.
It really is a serious bullet tax in games like this.
Which is great. I love it. We will be playing. There is alternative rules that you could use 3 different kinds of bullets. We're not just gonna have one. All guns use one bullet, one type of bullet, and that's just it's. Listen, the world before was slightly more high tech than this, and they figured out that they don't need different kinds of bullets, so it's fine.
Okay, we've got polymorphic bullets. I can deal with that.
Yes.
I liked the way Living Steel handled that, which is they didn't actually use bullets in most of their
Oh,
weapons.
was that the one where they had the
They
shaved
had-
off bits of plastic?
Yeah, it was. They were mostly flechette guns, and they would just shave the flechettes off a solid block of resin. So one block of resin was the same no matter what gun you were using, no matter what caliber of flechette it created.
Cool.
So it's a nice way of getting around the ammunition problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably something like that in that case.
Yeah.
Sure.
Be
That sounds
clever
great.
like that, yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's all good.
But yes, all of your characters will have grown up in the Ark. You might not even have ever left the Ark, depending on how would you like to perform your characters. There are people who leave the Ark. You need to leave the Ark every now. Well, people need to leave the Ark every now and then to get supplies
Yep.
and scavenge and all that kind of fun jazz that you need to do to survive in an apocalypse. Apocalypse. Words. So, usually you're told to start by creating mutants, but I'm thinking we should actually start by creating the Ark, because I have a very specific idea in mind. If you would like to humor me,
Okay.
Okay.
so the game takes place in Sweden, as you all know. Yes, the game takes place in Sweden. As far as you know, you're just in the zone and in the Ark, and it doesn't really matter where you are, or when you are, or whatever.
Just
But
for reference, I believe that the English translation, having been largely aimed at Americans because they're the bigger market, has got an alternative zone in it that is
yes,
based on New
but
York.
I don't care.
Just wanted to let viewers know that that's the way it works.
Fair enough. I know.
Although actually, I
Tales from the
think
Loop have the same
I
thing.
heard something about London being in one of the books as well.
Oh, actually,
I think it's in one of the source books.
I know I have 4 maps, and I only know 2 of them. And know the cities of 2 of them, but not the others. So maybe. But yes. So of course, I'm Swedish. You are not Swedish, which means that I know a lot of Sweden, and you know nothing, close to nothing.
The ideal way of doing things, if we ran this for you in Sweden, we would be in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
But that's not the way we're doing it. Which is why I also have kind of an idea that the arc you have happens to be shipwrecked is a high. It's an old cruise ship that happened to have gotten sort of not landlocked, but sort of gotten stuck in the zone you're in. The cruise ship by itself being part of the ancient and apparently very high up and high standard Brittany ferries, considering it's painted in big letters all the time, which means that it is chock full of remnants from even this more distant land than the zone that the ancients used to live in, which means that all of your characters have learned up speaking English as opposed to the rest of the zone and the ancient world around you.
Wonderful idea.
Oh God, we also probably think that the 1980s is roughly when style ended, and that velour is the height of fashion.
I mean, according
but now
to like
I have
the
a name for
place
my
to go-
mutant already.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Yes.
Just the
so...
fact that it's a ship, it has to be. I'm going to have to call my mutant Gemel now because the John Shano books had. I can't remember whether they actually called it the Ark, but that had a post-apocalyptic society that was hidden away from everyone else, and they had theirs wasn't a cruise ship. Theirs, if I remember rightly, was something like an aircraft carrier. So
yeah.
with modern firearms.
Nice. But yeah, so your arc is this old cruise ship that had been that somewhere in the long ago apocalypse got stranded here, or it's always been here. Like you don't really know where it come from, but it's chock full of like remnants from this old Britannia and whatever British people thought they needed on vacation, which you have all taken of heart as your family heirlooms, as things happen to shake out. On the arc, there is also an elder who is sort of like the head of your settlement, who knows things about the old world and has told your soldiers and have taught you all to read and write and speak in awesome British accent, so get working on that, Shard.
Oh no.
I think Shard can probably do a British accent better than we can do an American one.
That's not saying a lot.
Really, really not saying a lot.
But yes, the arc of course has been your arc of course has been it's been here for as long as the zone has been here. So like there's some elements that has been scavenged and things have been lost to time. And
Time's a bastard.
time is a bastard. So yes, that is the way that I've built the arc. You see, the book says that you should build it with the players, but I decided no, my ideas are better. So that's the way we're doing this.
Yeah, this is an exercise in collaborative roleplay. Screw that dictatorship.
Yeah, listen, my ideas are good, so I'm using them. But alright, so that's the arc mostly out of the way. We can flesh it out as we go along. You can get some form of thoughts and things in if you'd wish.
We'll be allowed to choose what colour some of the upholstery is.
Maybe. I mean, if you're like, I'll give you 2 choices, and if you pick the wrong one, you're wrong.
No, the upholstery is orange checked with dark brown.
No, listen, but at this point it's mainly green.
Well, yeah, okay, but originally,
yeah.
yeah. This upholstery won't rot. If it was 100% polyester, forget it. That's there for life.
Oh, yeah. Well, it can still get moldy. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
But yes. So
polyester seating. Yay!
The world has ended, and yet these sandwiches remain exactly as they were.
Yeah, you should rate a McDonald's. Like all of it is just still there.
Oh, you should have gone with my old employers, the ferries that used to. They used to run the Viking line.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
had pretensions towards being the Viking line, so they would do things like have the smorgasbord on board
Yes.
ship for those doing non-landing cruises and things.
Amazing.
They were a fantastic company, and the bridge out to the ferry only collapsed on them once.
Yes.
Once in the entire run. That's pretty good fate, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bad. But yes, so your settlement is about like 200 other mutants, except from you guys, who've all been born and raised in this this wonderful place we call home, Brittany Ferries.
We're also going to get
So-
sued. Memo
Listen, I had to
disclaimer
Google
goes
British-
on the stream.
I had to Google British ferries for this, all right? Like I've put in some research into this. It took me 2 seconds. How it ended up here, God knows. I don't know, but someone knows. Because it actually only goes from from Britain to Spain to France. Anyway, moving on. Let's get into your characters. I think it's time. I've been talking a lot. I think it's time to maybe ask you guys some questions. Yeah, the terror in Night Eyes says it all. So we're gonna start by letting you all pick a role. There are, give me a second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I might have miscounted that. I think there's 8 different roles.
The starter only has 4.
Yes. So the
But then
different
the starter
classes.
is 3, so I wouldn't expect to have much of it in there.
That's fair. So the 8 different roles, classes, occupations. Once again, we're translating on the fly. In Sweden, it's called basically occupation, but on the sheet it says role. So we're
Okay.
going with a mix between the two because I don't care.
Occupation.
Roll your patient
Yes.
it is then.
So
That's
role occupation. So the different occupations are Crusher, Zone Stalker, Mutant with Dog, Fixer, Gearhead, Chronicler, Boss, and Thrall.
Sorry, did you say frog?
Thrall. I
think.
can't actually pronounce it. For having played Vampire the Masquerade for as long as I have,
Oh,
Thrall is a
Thrall.
hard word to
Thrall,
yes.
right, gotcha.
Thrall.
Right, okay.
Thrall.
Thrall.
That's a good Viking word.
Thrall. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah.
I can't spell out things either.
Thrall. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing.
Thrall, servant, slave. That
Yes.
kind of boundary.
Yes.
Just out of interest, looking at the quick start booklet, we have the Enforcer, so I'm guessing that must be the Crusher.
Yeah.
That is the Crusher.
And the Zone Stalker is just called a Stalker.
Yes, but that's a more boring name than Zone Stalker, so I'm
But
going
it is.
with
Yeah.
Zone Stalker.
Well, I don't know. They're quite a good series of games.
Yeah, well,
but we're nowhere near Chernobyl, so.
Yeah, but it's a specific zone stalker. Like you're going into anyway. Carry on.
Yeah.
The video game is also wrong. They also call them stalker. It's Zone Stalker. Anyway,
It's also
Okay.
a movie by Tartakovsky, which involves entering the zone. A film called Stalker, which is a world filled with weird shit in a post-apocalyptic setting.
so it's Mutant Year Zero then.
So-
probably, yeah. I mean, the original edition came out. When did I say? I looked it up, didn't
Like
I? It was something
80
like
somewhere.
mid '80s, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
been around a while.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I like the sound of mutant with dog.
Damn.
Mutant with Dog.
I like the sound of having a pet.
Yeah.
That's
You
not
can.
in the quick start, but I'm guessing Dog Handler maybe would be a
Yes, the dog handler is what the official thing called it, but I don't care. Mutant with Dog is cooler.
Mutant with Dog sounds good.
Listen, I don't care about their translation. Their translation is wrong and mine is better. I've decided it. I thought about it for 2 minutes and I've decided mine is better.
I think this is just, I don't know. It's like, that's the sound of a portrait. Mutant with dog.
Mutant
And
Yeah,
with Dog.
well, in
In
Swedish
oils
it's
on
called
canvas.
literally Mutant with Dog. It's not called the Swedish equivalent of Dog Handler, it's Mutant with Dog. So I'm going with the OG.
Okay.
It is weird, but it's a weird book.
It's weird, but it's Swedish. What are we going to do?
It's even beyond like
post-apocalyptic.
yeah, they use a lot of like weird like words even for Swedish. Like they use a lot of like instead of calling it food, they're calling it crub and things like that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Just good. So that's what I'm doing as well. Like for example, Gearhead is Scraphead, and I still kind of want to call it Scraphead, but I'm calling it Gearhead because more people know what Gearhead is. Like
I think we are probably from the only country on the entire planet that is fine with the idea that food in this game is referred to as grub.
Yeah.
Because that's a term we use day in, day out.
Because that is a standard British piece of slang anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of like Swedish specific slang, and unfortunately, krub is actually exists as a Swedish slang as well, krub, which is excellent for this. There's some words I can't translate because I don't know enough about British slang.
I would also point out that grub does not necessarily infer that we eat grubs.
No,
unless you're on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here if I am my agent.
Yes.
Or in case
Right.
all the concepts in the cruise has run out, then you're just hungry, man.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But yes.
So this is session 0 of I'm a Mutant, Get Me Out of Here.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can, you don't have to all play different classes. You can play the same class if you will as well. There are talents you get to choose later that give them, slightly different focuses anyway. And, wacky characters is kind of part of the charm of the game, so, even if you have the same stats, exact same stats with the mutation and everything, you can make different characters that work anyway.
I already know what role patient I want, but I'll wait and see what the other two, rather than influence their decisions. I've already made mine, so I'll see what the other two come up with. Or other three, if Shard Angel wants to make a suggestion.
Yeah, Knight's going for the doglet, so...
So yeah, we've got a doglet.
Aside from man and his dog...
Mutant and his dog.
Yeah.
Let's get it right.
And whatever Fish has decided to pick. Hi Neo, yeah, we are session 0ing for Mutant Year 0, and we are creating mutants in a strange post-apocalyptic Sweden.
In the distant and the mythical land of Sweden.
Yes.
Which I am not at all broadcasting live from. That's
That's where the Swedes come from, isn't it? You know,
So,
those vegetables.
Shard would like Chronicler for first choice. I am actually interested in Zone Stalker. I want to hear more about the Zone Stalker.
I can tell you more about this.
Okay, so we've got 3 people interested in the Zone Stalker, but Shard does want Chronicler first, so that's not so bad.
Yeah.
You're not going to have an entire party of 3 Zone Stalkers and their dog handler.
I mean, that's kind of like how the
Dog
video game is, so...
Yeah.
Okay, Fish, if you want Zone Stalker, I'll go with something else.
You can both go
Yeah, I mean,
otherwise, it's
there's
one
no
of the
reason
most...
not to have 2 Zone Stalkers.
Yes,
because
it's one of the best classes to have when you're going out in the zone.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
those are the guys who go out there and do that, and that's the kind of stuff that player characters are likely to have to do. So
Yes.
having an excess of Zone Stalkers is probably quite normal.
No, that just means he can kill one of us and still have the party have a reasonable
I would
idea.
never.
Yes, there's that.
I would never.
Of course, if you're both stalking, there could be that wonderful situation where you're stalking the bad guy, both of you from different angles, and shoot each other because there is no bad guy and you're just stalking each other.
Yes, just stalking each other, go round and round in circles, yeah. Oh wait, he's been joined by a second one.
I was briefly considering we all be mutants with dogs, but no. I'm bottling out on that.
Just to make Felix run more NPCs.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but last time I saw Mutant with the dog being run, the dog was the most stupid dog I've ever seen. So,
I just
My dog
seriously,
then.
I just seriously get the whole boy and his dog vibe from that, which the dog had the brains.
yeah,
was telepathic.
the entire basis of Mutant with dog is very much like the ranger with the animal companion. It's very much just your one thing you do is that you send your dog to do your dirty bidding.
Yeah.
And there's a specific thing that if your dog dies, you get a new dog. But this is a one shot, so probably not.
Someone's gonna create a sodding chihuahua. I just see visions.
What I want to know is,
Chihuahua
had
in
the
armour.
devs of... Oh no, had the devs of Fallout 4 been playing this game?
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
assault. That is assault.
Sorry, what's the running class you want to hear more about, since you have only so far gotten the name? and whatever.
Yeah,
the
I
three
would like
people-
to know more about the Zone Stalker. Because
Yes.
I don't.
Let's see where it went. There we go. Yes, the Zone Stalker is very much the scavenger, the ones who goes out into the zone. Their different like talents they have is things like finding artifacts, hunting monsters, and finding where rot is and avoiding rot, because everything in this world is slowly rotting or falling apart or have fallen apart.
Okay.
So rot is basically the mutant's way of explaining away radioactivity, and like biological. All that goes under rot.
Okay.
Because they don't have a better way to explain it. Like, either you get shot or you die from rot. And that could be anything. Because people don't really understand this new world. It's strange and very, very dangerous. And, yeah.
Oh,
Sometimes you come
yes,
back from
I'm
going
gonna
out, and
die.
sometimes you don't. And sometimes you come back and you tell things and nobody knows what you're talking about.
See, in this
That's just
post-apocalyptic world, the equivalent of snog, marry, avoid is now shot, rot, or not.
Yes, yes, shot, rot, or not. That's exactly it.
That was quick, Fish. That was quick.
That was
Yes.
excellent.
Yes.
But yeah, like the system in itself is very basic, so that's really all that is to it. Like the when it comes to, you all have how many are it? 5 attributes.
Sounds about
Oh,
right.
where's the sheet?
Where's the
4
right
You
page?
see
attributes.
4 on the character sheet.
4 attributes, and that's strength, agility, wit, and empathy. I did that fast because I didn't translate it because I do have an English character sheet, which basically explain themselves. The guilty one is weird though, because okay, anyway. Yeah. Once again, I don't really agree with these translations, but I'll live with them. Guilty, moving and being able to handle like stressful situations as well. Go under agility. Wits is seeing things and understanding things and things like that. Empathy is interaction with other mutants and being a friendly fellow or not. Strength is being strong, and it's also your health. Because when you take damage to your attributes. Like if you can get inflicted by doubt, for example. If someone is trying to manipulate you, you might start to doubt yourself, and that means you get minus in empathy and all that. So like all of these are not only your attributes, they're also health bars for measuring different kind of health and general well-being. Which all lead to different effects if you reach like 0 in any of them. But the Zone Stalker's best ability is their agility, if my translation is correct, which I believe it is. God, I hope it is. Yes, that should be correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a soft G in that though. It would be agility.
Agility,
Yeah,
yes.
Agility.
So,
I like agility. I like hard G's, but I'll bow to your British imperialism.
Okay, so yeah, we've got wits, empathy, strength, and agility. Okay.
Yes. Pretty self-explanatory. If you're wondering anything, stop me, because I'm gonna be rambling on for the rest of this session 0, as I have so far.
Start as you mean to go on, dear.
Yes, you also get a special ability with your occupation, which only you have. And the special ability for the Zone Stalker is Lead the Way, which basically means that you are very good at getting through the zone and making sure other people also get through the zone, or not, depending on how you feel about them.
I think we should definitely have at least one of those.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is very good to have at least one of them. Not necessary, but it's good.
Okay.
And also helps with like finding artifacts and all that kind of jazz. As the mutant with dog, you get the special ability Sick 'em, which means you sick your dog on them. Or it really an ability to has a skill that has to do with everything that has to do with your dog, like making it do things for you and
Choppers, sick
things like
balls.
that. Yes. Ask for belly rubs nicely. Things like that. Yes, any other class. Chronicle. I should be talking about the Chronicle because
You
Shard
should,
wants to
yes.
play the Chronicle.
Shard
And that's one of
Chronicler.
yes, and that's one of the classes I haven't actually seen in play. I've seen a lot of classes in play, but not this one. So the Chronicle's best attribute is their empathy. and they have the special skill Inspire. They can be everything from like artists to healers to like I guess also psychologists would go under a chronicle. They're also the ones who write things down and be a chronicle. But they can also be rioters, the people standing on the apple crate shouting words that people follow them.
Rabble
That guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rabble
Rabble
rousers.
rousers, agitators.
Rabble rousers. Yes, that's the exact word. Rabble rousers. That's a good thing to say.
They can be Hetty from our Warhammer game.
Yes, yes. Need pamphlets.
Probably got a lot of pamphlets. Yeah.
Yes.
Mutant political bard. Yay! He wants boombox artifact playing all stuff.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, so the three talents you can have with the Chronicler is Artist, Healer, or Rabble Rouser. Those are the three talents you can have with that one. Mutant with Dog, I forgot. The three talents you have, like the three different specifications you get to choose later, are either Blood Dog, Fight Dog, or Mutant's Best Friend. What they mean exactly, we'll see later. So, if I understand it correctly, right now we have 2 Zone Stalkers, 1 Mutant with Dog, and 1 Chronicler.
Yeah.
Have I gotten that correctly?
That
So far,
sounds
yeah. Unless
about
that changes our mind.
right. I am just at the moment just having a quick buzz through the other options. Definitely not an enforcer. I always end up playing Gearheads.
Only if Robinson isn't around, because otherwise
That's
he
true,
steals
yeah.
the Gearhead straight away.
Midden face McNulty there for the fixer. No. Oh god. Right, yeah, that's definitely. I can. The image for the Chronicle is brilliant. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's good. All of the art in this book is fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
And I'm not going to take a boss. And I'm definitely not going to be a thrall. So, there we go. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm happy with Zone Stalker then.
Awesome. All right, that means that we all. Do you all have your character sheets, by the way? I sent them before in Discord.
They're in the planning channel. They're Google Docs and they are form fillable PDFs.
I can't get at the Discord for some reason.
There is a downloadable one from
However,
Odysseus.
Yeah, I just
got-
googled character sheets.
Hang on.
and found it.
I'll tell you what. I'll stick the link in chat, Fish.
Yeah, that's a thought.
That's a thoughtful thought.
Makes life easy
I
for
got you
you.
there.
A thoughtful thought.
Okay. Or Night will beat me to it.
Yes, because I will not be writing any of this down, so write it down yourselves, please.
I've got text file open, but I will also.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty
grab
decent.
that.
If you scroll down, the first 2 pages are colour, but the second 2 are printer friendly. Which is handy to know.
Generally, from what I've seen in Coriolis, I'm very impressed with the way Free League do stuff. They produce some really good material.
What character name did you come up with, Fish? Because you said you knew what name.
It's Gemmel,
Gemmel.
because of the John Shano reference, and the John Shano books were written by David Gemmel.
Of course, yes. I'm just being really tragic and I'm calling mine Purser.
Okay, that works.
Alright, so I'm gonna start with the Zone Stalkers for this.
Okay.
Most of the things on the that we're going to pick now are things I'm going to leave up to you. Things like appearance, your relations to the other roleplay characters. We can talk a bit more later when we all have our characters, and things like relations to other like storyteller characters. Doesn't really matter at this moment either. And your big dream you can think about later as well. But we're gonna start rolling dice. We're gonna roll for equipment. So my 2 lovely Zone Stalkers, could you please roll me a D6 to know the number of bullets you currently possess?
D6. Oh god.
One single d6.
5.
5? Awesome.
Yep.
I should really be using different dice than these, but I've got a cat sitting on me and I can't reach my other dice. So I'm going to have to make do with these ones. There is a d6 inside this d20. I'm not going to go for a d20 bullets.
Fair enough.
That's a 2.
That's a 2. Excellent. A little bit down on your luck, but it'd be like that. You know, money come, money go. Yes, and then you're also going to roll another T6. Sorry, D6. My book says T6 because that's dice in Swedish.
That's right.
1 T6
Yeah.
for your crop. The number of rations of crop.
Ooh. Now we get 6 there.
6.
Yeah,
Oh.
see, that's what you need.
Okay, apparently we've got all the food. So is it
Yep.
literally just those?
Uh,
Is it, or do they cross-reference to?
Sorry, what's the question?
Is it
I've-
literally we've got 5 bullets, for example, and
Yes.
right, okay,
I was just rolling for the amount rather than rolling on a table.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just that. And then roll me 2 d6 for the number of rations of water you also carry with you.
oh, there's 5. Okay, that's
10
10.
water.
Fish,
What is
stop
this?
it!
You're copying my dice. Be careful, I won't let us sit next to each other in exams anymore.
Yeah, stop it, you two. Right, and then you're also gonna pick weapons, which means I just need to quickly find where the weapons table is on this book.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, so you gonna have to choose one of these weapons. The weapons are as follows. God, translation immediately fails me. A scrap rifle, a scrap pistol, a bow and arrow, including 5 arrow, including 5. So either, yeah, those are the three. Sorry, scrap rifle, scrap pistol, or a bow with 5 arrows.
Okay.
Even though I really, really shouldn't, I'm going to pick the scrap rifle because it might explain why I've got so few bullets.
Yes.
Damn it, Fish. I was hoping for a sniper.
Ah, you see, but I love snipers. So,
Yeah,
alright
so
then,
do
you can
I.
have
You
can both
be a
be
sniper
snipers.
with a bow.
You can
don't wanna be
both have the right
Oh, for
scrap.
Yeah,
God's sake,
archery
you do
sniper.
realise that we're bloody related, don't you?
Of course we are. We both come from the Ark.
Yeah. Possibly.
Grr. Okay, we'll go. I am going to go with the scrap rifle because that was... It leapt out at me. And Zvap, apparently. My whole typing's now
rifle.
gone away.
No, we're not playing Stargate. You don't get a Zach Nicotel.
Alright, so you have a little weapons tab on your sheet.
Yup.
Please write down a bonus of +1,
Uh-huh.
a damage of 2, a range of long,
Lots.
and as the special is that it's homemade.
Oh, good.
Or do it yourself, I think would be a better translation for what the Swedish word they're using. Do it yourself.
DIY.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the stalker. All done. Sorry, the Stone Stalker. We're gonna pick talents later because that's in a different chapter, and I don't want to go back and forth because I'm.
Attributes, by the way, it's 14 split over the 4 attributes, isn't it?
Yes, but we're gonna take that a little later because there's also special. Oh wait, we can actually do that now. Yeah, your abilities you have. The attributes. There are 14. You have to put a minimum of 2 and a max of 4, unless it is your occupational ability attribute. So in the Stalker's case, that's agility. So you can put 5 in agility, and otherwise maximum of 4,
Yep.
and minimum of 2. And you have 14. There is, however, a thing where you can choose to forgo 1 point, so only have 13, and instead have 2 mutations at the start of the game. But that's something we can also remove later, so you don't have to make that choice now. So you can put in
Terribly
14,
tempting.
and
I was
then
just
remove.
thinking that.
Yeah. Yes, so you little stalkers can go and do that while I carry on to the mutant with dog, and we'll shoot talents a little later. So the mutant with dog, your special skill once again is Sick'em, because I don't know what they actually call it, but I call it Sick'em because that's funny. Uh,
Sounds right to
Sounds
me.
good. Yeah.
yeah, yes, and the translation is good. Alright, so you need to roll a t6 for your bullets as well.
A d6 for my bullets. That gives me 5.
Excellent. And then a t6 for your crop.
The grub. Shit, 6.
Oh, there you go. And then a t6 for your water as well.
2.
There you go. Alright, and you also will get to choose a weapon. Your weapons, however, will be slightly different. I'm also just going to open up the actual weapons tab because I let go of it because I'm an idiot. That is about all. Okay, so you can either choose between bicycle chain, a scrap knife, what's those things that David used to kill Goliath?
Sling.
A sling.
Sling, a sling, or a scrap rifle.
I'll take the bike chain, please.
Alright. Cool. The bike chain in your weapons tab has a bonus of +1. It has a damage of 1. And the range is close. Because in this game, the ranges are arm's length, close, short, long, and far, I think? I'm gonna check that.
Holy hell, you
Sounds
need
right.
a sniper.
Yeah, and distance, and the distance is how as far as you can see in the zone. Distance is far. I'm gonna call it far because that makes more sense than distance. Because even if it's distance in Swedish, I'm gonna call it far. So it's arm's length, close, short, long, and far. Because we use simple terms in Mutant. This is a simple and dangerous world you're living in. Cool. For the Chronicler, I'm just gonna check. Yeah, it's 1t6 for all of them. So the water should actually be 5 water in case you rolled for shard drut. Because the Stalkers have special rules. You actually get 2 d6
Oh,
water.
sorry.
instead
So
of just
it
1.
is just 5. Okay.
Yes. So it is a difference between the classes, like, and some classes don't get any bullets at all at the start of the game, and things like
Apologies.
that. And the Chronicler doesn't even doesn't get any weapons either. So, haha, we don't have to ask Shard any opinions, which I like.
Oh, this is going to go down so bad.
Yes, you can also buy equipment with your bullets, but I think that might actually be something that we can take between now and the session, the first session, instead of doing it now, because it means I can post a list of all the things and you can choose if you want to buy something or not. Yeah, so let's quickly move on to talents. Find the right chapter. Alright. So, my lovely little stalkers. You have
Just
3
get
different.
freaked out and picked on when he says that.
I'm being genuine.
Yeah.
You have 3 different talents.
Okay.
Either Monster Hunter, which means that you get a +2 when you are a +2 on the skill that is called. I'm stalling as I'm trying to find it. Scout. You get +2 to Scout if you are scouting against a beast.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to figure out and see more of a beast, you get a +2. And I'm supposed to give it to you if I know that there's a beast. I get +2 as well. That, or you can choose to have the Rot Nose, which is that when you roll to find the way or to lead the way, you get a bonus effect. You get a bonus effect that you can find. That you automatically find the most rot-free path through the sector, which is something you don't necessarily get otherwise.
Okay.
Yes, and mechanically that works as the rot level is 1 less than it should be.
That's pretty cool,
if
actually.
you are the one leading the way. The last one is the artifact finder, or the thing finder. The thing finder is a better translation. The thing finder. You get a +2 in find the way or lead the way. Lead the way.
Uh-huh.
Lead the way is better. You get +2 in lead the way. And wait, yeah, I'm just gonna read that. Yes, you get +2 on lead the way, and if you succeed, instead of leading the way, you find an artifact or some form of loot. And to actually, because you roll lead the way to like find threats and things like that in the zone, and that instead becomes a bonus effect that you need to, like, you can choose to take +2, and that means you will automatically find a thing. But that means you need to roll more than one success to actually find any threats.
Would this be
This is-
bonuses to the know the zone skill?
No, it's to you have a specific skill as a stalker that's
right,
called
gotcha,
lead the way.
Gotcha.
Yes. So which could be an issue, unless you have two stalkers, where one can find threats and the other can find things. Just a little tip.
Don't pick the same.
They're
ones,
all
my
quite
fish.
cool. What were you thinking of getting dropped?
Are you checking because you know damn well we'll pick the same bloody thing otherwise?
We probably will, yeah. So I just want to make sure we don't. So which do you want?
I am actually thinking Rotnose.
Yeah. And in that case, I shall be a thing finder. Why not? I shall
Because
find
that was
things.
my second choice,
Find the
yeah.
things. The lovely little things. The shiny things. Cool. Alright, that's you all taken care of, shoving you up to the corner. Mutant with dog!
Yes.
You have either Bloodhound, Fight Hound, sure, or Mutant's best friend. The Bloodhound means that you have trained your dog to become a Bloodhound. And you get +2 when you are letting your dog follow a track.
But if you choose that one, you have to call your dog Toby.
You so have to go with a little terrier that's descended from, like, the customs sniffer dogs.
Yeah, just some British guy just brought their like excellent blood tracker on this cruise, and it's grand.
Yeah, customs guys have to go on holiday too.
Yeah.
I already know the dog's name.
Ah.
I don't know what sort of dog it's going to be yet. I'm
Okay.
waiting to hear about Fight Dog and Mutant's best friend. I can guess what Fight Dog might be.
The
yes.
first rule about Fight Dog, though.
Yes. It says you have trained your dog to become a life-threatening little monster. Is the actual wording of that. Its strength increases to it gets a strength of 4, and you get a modification +1 when you use your dog to fight. Yes, and Mutant's best friend is your dog can help you through all the troubles. You can use your dog you can use your dog when you are going to either endure. You can use your dog to either endure or move.
It's the littlest murder hobo.
Which means that instead of rolling your own endure or move, you get to use the dog's attributes and your skill in Sikkim.
Oh.
Instead of using your ability scores and your skills, you use your skill in Sikkim as well as the dog's ability scores. Attributes, I should say.
I will take Bloodhound, please.
Bloodhound, there you go. Take it. It is yours.
That largely makes us a team of people that find things.
Yes. Excellent. I will read up more about the dog at a later date, and I'll send you all the information.
Works.
Sweet. So the Chronicle. I'm just gonna read this out loud and hope that Shad is here listening. So, there is the artist, which is once per session. When you are home in the Ark, you can hold a performance for the people of your settlement. It can be stories, poetry, or song, which means that he gets a roll for inspire, and every six gives you 1d6 bullets or crop. And a failed roll means that someone did not like your art. ... The I need to Google this. The expert in anatomy means that you have read books about how the human body works. You get modification +1 when you are healing someone that is broken from physical damage. And it also says don't forget to ask for payment for your services. And
You get +1 unless you forgot to check whether they have medical insurance, in which case you
I mean, you check the pockets first and then you check the pulse.
Anyone else
Pockets
getting
pulse.
shard light, in fact, in chunks of this?
Yes, I can see that.
I now know what my character wears.
It's fine. And what was the excellent word? The rabble rouser. You get +1 on inspiring someone that is either fighting or shooting. So you're basically a bard. So you can inspire people that are fighting and shooting. That means you get +1 on that thing. Cool. Excellent. That was all of that settled. It's time for us to move on to the fun stuff, or do we have something else to do? Skills! Alright, so have everyone started out their abilities so far?
Yeah.
I'm looking at potentially a second mutation. So
Not
I've
yet.
kind
Can you
of
remind me
not...
how the abilities went? I was sort of listening to all the
Oh,
character
yes.
talk, thinking how cool it was.
Give me a second. Yes, so Mutant with Dog, your special ability is agility as well, which means that you can put 5 in agility. Otherwise, it's a maximum of 4 and a minimum of 2, and you have 14 ability points to set into those 4 different
14, did you
abilities.
say?
Yeah.
Yes, 14. Unless you want to pick another mutation, in which case it's only 30.
I'm going to see what my first mutation is, and then I might drop something.
Yeah, that's
Fair
what
enough.
I'm kind of...
If it's really interesting, I'll just...
Yeah, that's completely viable. You can just remove one later.
Yeah, if I do, my strength is going down to 2.
I
deciding
played
to
a
kill
character for
people.
2 years with 2, and I was a glass cannon, and
I
it
have a
was
rifle.
interesting.
I will be killing things from a distance.
That's what I said as well.
Many things, not unless you can find a lot more bullets.
One
Yes,
shot, one kill.
Chronicle, same thing. But their ability is empathy, just to have it on stream. Cool. Yes, it's time for the skills.
Yeah.
So your skills, you have 10 points, which go from like the maximum, like they go from 0 to 5, just to give you a reference of how much is much in a skill. But you cannot put above a 3
Okay.
in any skill. If I remember, I'm actually gonna check that up because I think there was a special, and you all have your special skill as well. I'm just gonna check up because I think there might be an
Have to have at
exception.
least 1 in whatever your special skill
Yeah.
is. Looking at
Yes, exactly. That was what I was going to look up, but I can't find it. Have I gone too far? Who knows?
Well, I've got the music to the Littlest Hobo stuck in my head.
Shard says he's dropped from Twitch due to where he went in this building. He'll be back in about 15 minutes.
That's cool.
Okay, cool.
I
I saw
think
it was written down, so I think it's fine.
that-
Otherwise, I can just do this between, like, off stream with him.
the other thing is that the option that you've been doing at the moment of making sure that you're reading out all the options for the chronicler means that he could just go back and go
Watch the
through
VOD.
the VOD,
Yeah.
Yes,
ask questions that way.
yeah, that's fair.
But either way, it's useful information for anybody else who wants to know about the game. So
Yes.
Poos.
look these.
Choice. Why can't I find the thing I'm looking for? Here we go. Yes, you don't actually need to have any points in your special ability, just that you can't use it if you don't.
Okay,
Like
that
all the
makes
other
sense.
skills you can use even if you don't have any points in them, except for the special occupation abilities.
Right.
Because there is a thing such as multiclassing in this game, if I remember correctly, which is weird, but it's possible. Yes.
Okay, and you can't put more than 3 in.
Yes.
And how many points do we get in total again? Sorry.
10.
10.
No, wait, never mind. There's another line a little further down that says you do need to put a 1 in your special ability. Ignore me.
It said you needed 2 in the quick start, but I wasn't going to argue with the person who's got the actual rule.
Yeah, but listen, like I was reading one paragraph, and then in another paragraph, they're disputing the first paragraph. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's fine. I see what they're doing. I now I understand. Now I see clearly. What that really means is that you can't use any other occupation's special ability, which you yeah. That's why they phrase it that way. Cool. Yes. So yeah, you can't set any higher than 3, but you can raise them up. If you were playing a long campaign, you can go above that using XP. But you're not gonna live that long, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, thanks for that.
You're welcome. I like you see, like if I put a bar low, like the expectation is low, that means you can only go up.
Okie doke.
So if I start by saying you will go 5 minutes and then perish, you will be happy when it's been 10 minutes and you're still alive.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering how badly I did with my character in Coriolis, and just wondering if perhaps I ought to give some ability to actually fight.
I mean, as long as you can shoot, and like you said it yourself, you don't need to get close.
I mean, I've got
It's
2 in
fine.
shoot, which strikes me as
fine.
quite good.
Yes, that is quite good.
But I am kind of wondering.
Yes, but just to explain how the game actually plays, when you are rolling to do something, that means you are rolling on you're using the skills. You're rolling first and foremost the dice for the skill that you're using. So if you're using shoot, that would give you 2 dice because you have 2 in that ability, and you will also use the ability that shoot goes under, which in this case is agility, which means you would use your stat in agility. And if you've been hurt, that would be lower, and add those to the dice pools as well.
Yeah.
Plus, if you use a weapon that has a bonus, which all of your weapons have a bonus +1, that means you will add that to the dice pool as well. So you would roll all those dice, and only 6s would be successes, and you're really only looking for 1. And if you get 1 success, you succeed. If you don't get any successes, tough luck. And if you get more than 1 success, you can use that to inflict like bonus effects on the roll.
Yeah.
Things like if you're fighting, knocking things over, knocking people over, or like making them drop weapon, or things like that.
Was it like 30 odd dice you rolled at one point night before you got any successes at all in Coriolis?
Something like that, yeah.
There were quite a lot of dice being rolled with no 6s coming up. I remember.
Yeah.
That I
was
did that.
around 30.
Yeah.
I did that in Coriolis as well. I spec'd a character to just be good at manipulating, and that was it.
Yep.
Which means I was sitting there rolling 14 dice and hoping 1 would be a success. It's a very hard system to succeed in, but that also brings in, once again, the fact that if you're desperate and you really want to succeed, you can always press your roll and roll again. But that means there is a possibility you can take damage. I'm not sure how we're going to make that work, because in the core game you use different colored dice for like if it's an ability, like for the ability, for the different bonuses you're adding, basically. So you have one color for the weapon bonus, 1 color for the ability, and 1 color for the skill, and those do different thing if you press it. So if you get successes on, like, they do different things if you press it, depending on if you get 6 on that one. So I'm not sure how we're gonna do that if we get fancy going to work.
Yeah, your attribute dice do damage to you if they come up with a 1 when you push.
No, if you come up with a 6, if you succeed.
Ah, okay.
So if your attribute come up with a 6, you still get bonus effects for it, but you will take damage in the ability you're using. And if
pushing
the
yourself beyond your limits, effectively
yes,
risking
and
a pulled muscle or a torn hamstring.
exactly, and if your skill comes up, the green dice come up with the sixes, you get a mutation point. I believe. No, wait, no, that's also the ability. Yes.
I mean, looking at the quick start, as it's described in the quick start, the skill dice don't seem
That's
to be.
yeah, no, that's because the skill dice is the yellow
Yeah.
one.
It says green on this one.
Oh. Give me a second.
Green.
This is one of the
Dice
rules that we didn't play with.
Green dice
We just
and gear dice are black, as per this. And when you push the roll, you re-roll anything that isn't already a 6 or a 1, or if you've got the custom dice, the funky little logos on them.
yes.
And then then 6s and 1s have special effects when you push.
I
No,
don't
just-
actually.
just
Yeah,
one.
just sixes.
Effects when you push. So it's
Yes.
if you roll a 1 on the attribute dice, you gain a mutation point and suffer a point of trauma against the attribute you use.
Exactly.
And if you roll a 1 on the gear dice, then the gear bonus of the item you're using drops 1 step.
Yes.
That's according to the quick start. How it's written in the core rulebook, I wouldn't like to say.
Yes. No, that's exactly like I keep getting them mixed up. Yes. I'm gonna bring my lovely little dice out because I actually bought my funky little dice. So the yellow ones are the ability ones. They have a nice little biomechanical in the official ones. If you roll a 6, if you have like normally it's fine and there's a 6. If you have pressed your ability, pressed the roll, that means that you get a trauma in the ability as well as a mutation point. The green ones are the skill ones. They just have the radiation thing. It's just fine. It's just a success. And as you say, a 1 on the gear 1, it has a little explosion. Means that you succeed. Otherwise, it's just the standard radiation thing as well. Lovely dice. Kind of expensive. Anyway.
Oh, I know that feeling. I've got the
How'd you buy
dice for the Dark Eye because they have. The Dark Eye has a system where you make 3 attribute checks for every skill.
Yeah.
And to speed things up, each attribute has its own colour, and you can buy a set of D20s matching those colours, so you can roll all 3 at the same time. But they're much more expensive than normal D20s.
Yeah.
I wonder what that might be.
So, depending on like, I need to like, we're gonna have to check if you guys have dice in different color. Otherwise, I might
all
home.
the dice in the world.
Well, yeah, but just checking. Just checking.
I'm using an app. I can change the colour of my dice as I want.
Cool. Yeah, because yeah, we'll figure it out. Cool. Where was I? Completely lost track of everything. Where's my quick hand? I wrote a quick hand so I wouldn't get lost. Yes, skills. You've all chosen your skills. Correct.
Yes.
Everyone has their skills.
I'm not necessarily sure I like the way the numbers are set at the moment, but yes, I've chosen the skills. I do have a question. The move skill, what does that cover exactly?
It covers things like, in Swedish it's actually called flight, like running away. But it also covers things like crawling into tight places. But yes, running away as well. I'm going to check up what the book actually says because that's how I remember it. Because of my character.
Quick starts
Once
says
again,
to get out of danger, roll to make a difficult climb or jump, roll to move.
Exactly. Yes. To get over physical obstacles that doesn't include breaking them necessarily. Yes, exactly. And once again, like all of the it's escaping conflicts or other difficult situations by physically removing yourself from the conflict in question. But it also and like once again, all of these have like bonus effects. If you roll more than one success, you can unlock bonus abilities. But we can take that when we're actually playing, because there's a lot of skills, and I don't want to sit here and just read
just
things.
decided whether I wanted to put any points in that or leave that point and put that somewhere else.
Yeah,
One
that's
thing
fair
I
enough.
would like to ask about this system, because I remember it from Coriolis, and I want to know if it's the same in this. In Coriolis, there's no such thing as a neutral roll. You either succeed and get whatever good thing it is, or something bad happens. But there's no
Yes.
just and nothing
That's-
happens.
Okay.
Exactly that. Either you succeed or you fail.
Right.
It's a brutal system in that sense.
But you're encouraged only to roll when it's necessary. However,
Yes.
It's not like a lot of games where you're rolling dice all the time and they don't really mean a great deal.
Yeah.
This one, every die roll is significant, so you go quite a long while between
Yes.
die rolls.
One of the example they have in the book is that, for example, if someone is looking for a trap door, as long as they describe that they're looking in the right spot, they find it.
Yeah.
And there's no real need to roll for it. Given the situation, of course, but like in general. And yes, there is either you fail, or you do good, or you go do very good. And if you choose to press it, you usually do very good and very bad at the same time. And it's fun and games. Yes, I hope at least one of you die. Otherwise, I will have failed. Let's carry on.
That'll be me then.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Oh, I'll just kill your dog. I mean, you're two people. So, like, you're the perfect
Kill me
target.
twice.
You
Yeah!
get to kill me once, yeah. That's always going to be fun. You are in so much trouble.
I still remember my first time DMing. I had 5 players and 7 player deaths. It was a system built for it, so it was fine. But I just liked killing them so much.
But you ever run it?
Well, I mean, one of them never died. One of them died 3 times. Anyway, moving on. It's time for the meat, the core part of this game.
Don't say meat.
Mutations. The mutations.
Yay.
Listen, this is what we've all been leading up to. This is what we've all been waiting for. So, who would like to pick your pick your mutation first? Who's up for it?
I'll do it.
Drat, excellent. Step up to the podium. Bear your body to the world as
No.
we decide how you are going to be destroyed by the genetics of this world.
You have
This
no
ruined and
idea.
destroyed world.
Right, what am I
Cool.
rolling, dudes?
Roll a T6. A T66. 66. Yes, so
66.
2d6. One is the one is the one and the other is the one.
I'm using
You know what I'm talking
D6s,
about.
so we'll take
This
that.
is a die type very familiar to anyone who plays Traveller.
Yeah.
It has episodes of Traveller over the years.
Okay.
Lots.
Well, this is
66.
embarrassing. That's a 55.
55.
So whatever I'm getting that.
Cool. No, you guys are gonna roll twice and pick one of them because I'm
Okay.
kind. So roll again. Your roll is noted, and I am reading.
Yeah. Okay, just a quick one. Fish, do me a favour and check Discord. Just while I'm doing this. I wouldn't say normally, but it's kind of time sensitive. Oh, of course you can't, sugar.
Oh, well, I jumped so.
Okay, so that's 55 is my first one, and this. Oh, piss off. My dice is obviously broken. 66.
You rolled the same thing twice.
No, 66.
That means roll again.
Oh gods. Okay, might not have to pay. 51.
51. Ooh, okay. So you have 2 choices, either between spore sacs or telepathy.
Right. Okay.
I will let you know what they do as soon as I find them in the book. Luckily, they are in order of alphabetical order. So-
Okay.
Spore sacs. You have hidden sacs with spores on your body and can send out directed cloud.
Well, this doesn't sound sus at all.
You can send out a cloud of these spores in close distance, and the spores can affect other people's feelings and emotional level. For every mutation point you spend, you can force your victim to take 1 point of doubt. That is the damage that affects your empathy.
I'd already taken 4 empathy on my character because I wanted her to basically be able to mind melt people. And this works now, so yeah.
There are 2 other effects the spores can do. The spores can also stench. They can have a stench that is so bad that your victim is suffocating or becomes gravely ill. For every mutation point you add, your victim can take 1 point of trauma, like damage, physical damage. And the armor doesn't help in this case. Or it can be used to sort of fog up the area close to you, and you can get out of a situation without having to run to use move. So it's basically an ink cloud but of spores, and instead of having to roll for move, you can just get out.
Well, yeah.
You can basically smoke bomb and leave. But with spores.
Spore sacks then. There's no question there. It's going to be spore sacks.
Are you sure you don't know what telepathy does?
I know what telepathy does. Don't care.
Does the spore sack have all of those, or does right choose one of those functions?
No. She has all of them, and she chooses which ones she wants to activate. So when she burns the mutation points, she uses which one she would like to use.
That's quite cool.
Yes, the mutation can be activated in different ways, depending on the situation and what you would like to use them. So spore sacks, you're welcome.
Yep.
Cool. Next one. While you decide if you want to pick another one. Excellent. All right, roll me.
So 66 again, yeah.
Yes.
61.
61. That's a reroll.
Okay.
Because for some reason they couldn't come up with enough mutations to fill the entire table. So just reroll.
So 43.
43. Ooh, excellent. Okay. You're gonna roll another one.
And the second roll is 51.
51. That's also spore sacks. So I'll let you re-roll that one in case you want to pick the same one. You can roll that again.
Okay.
We have some different mutations going on.
36.
36. Oh shit! What does this word mean? Give me a second.
That's a good start.
That's a new word. Okay. All right.
Educational as well as fun.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. So the 2 different options you have is either reptilian, which means that your body has inherited the abilities from inherited abilities from reptilians. Cool. You can change your skin like a chameleon, which means that you can automatically stealth. And attacks against you are made as if they were in darkness, because you're hard to spot. The effect lasts for like a couple of minutes. It costs you one mutation points, but then it's activated for a couple of minutes. And it does say that you need to be either naked or almost naked. But I'm not like I can be a little loosey goosey with that. It's fine.
So can the
The downside of Reptilian, of course, is that you are fated to never be able to defeat any mutant who has an arachnid mutation.
Sorry.
Not even team up with the goblin one and the octopus one.
Or you can use it to squeeze through a hole or a passage that is only a couple of decimeters broad.
You
That
realise
also costs one.
he is the Velocipaster.
Or you can also hypnotize an enemy that is close to you with your reptilian eyes. He takes a point of confusion per mutation point you spend.
We can completely mess up psychologically anyone we meet.
Yeah.
Yes.
You get to do a whole Snake from the Jungle Book thing with the spinny eyes.
Oh. And the other is... Okay. Pathokinetics? I think? Not pyrokinetics, mind you.
Uh-huh.
Pathokinetics, which means that you have the ability to affect other people's emotional being on a close distance. So, patho as in P-A-T-H-O. if my Google Translate is correct, and that makes sense.
Wow.
Which means that you,
telepath.
Psychokinetics, yeah.
yeah, emotional kinetic abilities, which means that you can spread fear and anxiety. Your victim takes 1 point of stress or doubt for every mutation point you use, or you can heal 1 point of stress or doubt per every mutant point you use. But it requires skill contact, but you can use it on yourself. Or you can affect the like mood in a crowd. For example, to spread feelings of fear, joy, love, anger, or fear. Yeah, and that effect lasts for a couple of minutes. Basically, calm emotions from D&D 5e. But that costs you 1 mutation point, but it lasts for a couple of minutes, and that means you can basically do a crowd control with whichever feeling you wish. So those are the 2 you can choose from. It's a tough decision.
It is. They're both quite cool and
Very
handy.
good. Yeah.
Oh, you could always
Good
drop
lord.
both of them.
Okay, thank you to Trolllord Games for raiding us.
Hey, hello.
Trolllord Games, hello.
Hello,
Thank
Trolllord.
you very much. Castles and Crusades, if I remember rightly.
That rings a bell. Okay, you are terrifying.
Which I own, but have never actually played.
Excellent. Hello. Welcome
Hello.
aboard. We're deciding what kind of strange mutated freaks we're going to be.
Yeah, are you okay if I drop a point in my abilities and take both of those?
Yes, I'll be fine. I'm fine with that.
I've dropped a point of strength for a second mutation. Can I fresh roll?
Yes, but I'm gonna do Fisher
You do
first.
fishy first, yeah, and then come back to me. That's cool.
Yes, we're creating some wonderful, terrible, destroyed and deranged characters here. Deranged in a physical sense, no more in a DNA sense. Cool. It's your turn, Fishy. Roll the dice.
Right, let's see what we get. So that is a 45 for the first one,
Yes.
and a 41 for the second.
41 and 45. Yes. All right. So that means you have the choice between pyrokinetics, which means that you have the ability to set fire to things with your mind.
Always
You-
fun.
You can by spending 1 mutation point, you can set fire on a dead object made out of burnable material, or you can set fire to a living creature within close distance, and that means they take 1 physical damage for every mutation point that you are using, and it goes through armor.
Oh God! You're gonna cook them from the inside out.
Then,
Or-
And why not?
Oh,
Or
fish.
you can melt ice or heat up a cold location
All right.
that can help for for about an hour to basically not freeze to death.
Well, that's good for survival purposes.
Yes, and that costs 1. Oops, sorry, excuse me. It costs 1 mutation points, and it eliminates the effects of cold within close distance.
Cool, cool.
That useful, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and the other one is Rot Eater, which means that you are you are not sensitive for the effects of the rot. You still take rot points as usual, but you can spend 1 mutation points to not take any trauma from rot, not take any damage from rot, or you can use 1 mutation points to spend a rot point to get back on one of your one of your attributes 1 step. So you can spend rot to get better, to get weller.
Okay, I'm going to drop my empathy a point and take both of those because they sound very cool.
There's a third effect for the rot eater as well. You can secrete concentrated
Oh.
rot against an enemy that's within arm length distance. That gives the victim a point of trauma of whichever attribute you choose. So you can choose if it's doubt, confusion, fatigue, or damage. And
It's a really bad idea to go anywhere near these three because they're all going to do something to you.
Yeah. Gotta have to step up my game.
Oh, mate, no.
Yes, and it's 1 point of trauma for every mutation point you use, and every point of trauma that you are using. For every point of trauma that you are causing, you have to spend a rot point as well. So you actually need to be radiated to properly use this attack.
Yeah. So I'm just wandering through the zone, finding and eating all of the
Rot-infested things.
chemically infected and radioactive material I can find.
Yes. Cool.
It's a good job that I didn't go with the rot nose, especially.
Yeah,
I mean,
I did.
I would allow you.
And use it to find the stuff.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
allow you to actually find them as well.
Okay, I am
Yes,
going
Druts.
to
No.
back up mutation.
Relationships with other PCs. Druts, Stalker, my bestest friend who finds me all the best rot.
Yes, yes. There we go.
Hey,
Class-
I've got a
class-
project. You want rot?
Okay, either
Can you
I'm
choose
going with
rot?
13,
Fine, fine.
13,
Sorry, 13.
or anything over 60 is a roll again, isn't it?
Everything above a 61 is a roll
Okay,
again.
yeah. 13 or a 53.
53. Oh, okay, cool. I'm just gonna, because I know what this translates to, but I want to know how they would, how properly translate the excellence that is this word choice. Yes, okay. So either fire spray or tracking sense.
Oh, hello.
So, in alphabetical order, because that's how this book rolls, and that means that's how I roll. If I can find it, yes. Fire spray basically means that you can puke out gases and ignite them on the way up through your throat, and hence create a blast of fire from your mouth.
On the subject of people with lizard mutations.
Yep.
It's very similar to the Power Connected in that you can set fire to a burnable object that costs you 1 mutation point, or you can shoot fire on an enemy up to close. They take damage equal to the amount of mutation points that you are spending, but they can get benefits from armor, because you're shooting something from them and not boiling them from the inside out.
Talk to me about tracking sense, because I suspect that's probably more my bag.
Yes, just want to add the second one, which is actually different from the pyrokinesis one, is that you can shoot fire at a different, like a number of enemies to the point of mutation points you're spending. So if you spend 3 mutation points, you can shoot fire at 3 people in the same turn.
Burning hands time.
Yes, but everyone just only takes 1 damage. And the tracking sense, it means that this one is actually very thematic. Your sense of smell is overhumanly developed. You can, like a bloodhound, follow scent traces after a certain person or a monster. Cost you 1 mutation points per day.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can discover an enemy that is trying to sneak up on you or ambush you. Every mutation point that you spend takes out 1 of their successes when they're trying to stealth.
Okay.
So even enemies have to roll for stealthing, and that means you basically can cancel their successes by using mutation points. Or you can smell your way to nearby grub. It costs you 1 mutation point, but it gives you 1 T6 of rations of rot damaged grub out in the zone.
Okay.
It's gonna be you and the dog just on all fours sniffing out people.
What do we reckon, guys? Because I'm thinking tracking sense, to be honest. and it
I think
kind.
there's quite enough fire in this party already.
Yeah, and I can mess with people's emotions with the spores.
Yeah, I think tracking's probably more you.
I think yeah.
Could certainly be
In-
very useful.
Yeah, and it also does also make sense with the fact that you're already choosing a talent that gives you
Yeah.
heightened senses of smell when it comes to rot as well.
Yeah.
So it just goes hand in hand very well.
Yes, that works.
Cool. Everyone has mutations. We're all fucked up in excellent ways.
Is Shard in chat wanting to roll?
Oh,
for this?
yes,
Or has
Shard!
disappeared. I think Shard has disappeared. for the moment.
Shard was in and out. Let
Is
me
he
just
in
check
again?
whether last I heard
Not-
he was in or out.
Not seeing him in chatty, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No.
Doesn't it?
I think we just have to wait for him, basically.
Shard will be a lovely surprise. So, any viewers who tune in to watching this game, there will be one secret mutant.
That none of
Yes.
us know about.
Yeah.
Maybe
Except
we'll run
the
a
fact that-
competition. You can correctly predict what his mutation is. We'll say something nice about you because we can't afford to.
Yeah, or something neutral. Depends on the mood we're in. I think that's all we. That's all of the mechanic stuff out of the way, actually.
Okay.
How are people doing name-wise? Is there anything other specific things people are wondering about, or
Well,
anything like that?
my character developed a first name as well, but that's largely
Excellent.
because I keep getting very strong Warriors vibes off this whole thing for reasons known to somebody else. So I've come up with Swan Purser.
Come out to play.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it was that or Clink, to be honest.
Oh, my stalker has been called Gemmel since very early in this process, and will continue to be called Gemmel because I am a fan of David Gemmel's John Shanover.
Yup.
I got the dog's name before I got my character's name. The dog's called Goose.
Goose, excellent dog name.
Oh, we have a Shard back.
Oh, Shard, excellent.
Oh,
Hello
hello,
again,
Shard.
Yes, Shard.
That
Would you
gives
wish
a
you
name.
would you wish us to fuck you up? Genetically. Calm down.
Came in. Okay. Shall I roll for him?
Apparently he wants two.
He wants to.
Ooh, he
So
wants.
say we all.
He's
He wants-
greedy.
Typically
I see.
we're rolling for you again, so yeah, so perhaps did you say you were going
Yeah,
to?
well.
Getting my
Okay,
tables out again.
first mutation. The choice is 44. Obviously, it's my days for rolling doubles.
It's double stack.
Or 52. That's
Okay.
for mutation 1, unless he wants
I
both of
also-
those.
Love, by the way, how we've all gotten different ones. Like all of them so far have been different numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of them is one we discussed before going live. Direction hump.
Still love that name.
I love it! I think it's great!
It's so dumb. Which means that you have inherited the bird's ability to know. What is it called? The north, south, west, east. That's that. Yes. You have basically a built-in compass and can orient you. The mechanics are that you can half the time that it takes to explore one sector in the zone. It costs you 1 mutation point, but that means you will become more efficient in searching us because you won't as easily get lost among the ruins and the destroyed effects of the world. You can act in total darkness without any issues in 1 T6 minutes per mutation point. So you spend 1 mutation points, and that means for 1 D6 minutes you can act without any form of issues.
It's kind
in
of
complete darkness.
electromagnetic compass and sonar.
Yeah, which is weird because there's also a different mutation that's called sonar. But you can also affect the balancing of enemies within close distance. The victim takes as many points of stress as the amount of mutation points you're using, and you can do that with how many people you want within close distance. So if you're spending 3 mutation points, you can choose to do 2 on that guy and 1 on that guy, and they will become stressed because suddenly their up is wrong and down is slightly to the left.
He is the human version of one of those, the non-lethal guns that broadcast the frequency that causes enemies to embarrass themselves.
The brown note.
Yes.
Yes, basically that.
Never let the guy sing the blues to you. Bum.
Stress, by the way, because I realized they haven't translated properly. That's the thing that fatigue in agility. I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Okay.
Fatigue?
Fatigue.
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 Fatigue. Fatigue. I knew I was saying it wrong.
That's right. We
Fatigue.
knew what you meant.
Yes. Yeah, we'll figure it out. This is a game of exploration, and exploration in this case also means trying to translate whatever your DM is trying to babble off on. Because
But
he
your
doesn't know how to
English,
translate words.
your English is a shitload better than my Swedish, so we'll just go with
Yes,
that.
objectively.
Which extends to 3 words, and I think 2 of them are names.
That's three more.
Like Lars. Yes, and the second one is sprinter, which means that your leg muscles have abnormally been developed and you can run extremely fast for a short distance. You can double your movement in 1 round. Every maneuver that you put on movement counts as 2 instead, which I realize I haven't gone through the combat thing, so I'll do that once I've finished reading the smashes. You can go immediately, for example, from long distance to arm's length within a round, or for example, go directly from short distance to being up close to people. You become faster and you can easily maneuver around. Exactly. It costs me 1 mutation point, or you can automatically succeed in running away from a conflict without having to roll the dice. Then that costs you 1 mutation point. So those are those 2 mutations. We'll see if he responds in chat now, or if he can just respond and send me whatever he wishes later. But yes, combat, because I realized I forgot to talk about that.
Okay,
First.
he would like the first mutation, but he wants 2 mutations, of course, so I'm just going to...
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
Roll again for
Yeah.
another
Roll
one.
So-
again.
He's taking the first one, so he's taking the direction hump.
The direction of. That's, by the way, the literal translation that's in the book. Like, I didn't make that up. The
Yeah.
translation is weird, but that's because it's weird.
Okay, second mutation is going to be either a 15...
I think you should just invent a mutation for his second mutation. I think Shard deserves a prehensile mustache.
Ah!
or a 25.
Or 25. Oh, cool. It's funny you say that. The one he rolled is 4-armed, so I'm just thinking if the mustache becomes 2 arms instead.
I didn't even know. What do you know? What do I roll?
Yes, 4 arms. You have 4 arms instead of 2. You can fight twice directly after each other in the same round, so you don't have to stab. Because basically in combat you have either you can do 2 maneuvers, which includes things like moving, or you can do 2 actions, which include things like using mutation points and fighting. So you can either it costs you 1 mutation point, and you can use a maneuver to instead attack twice. Usually you can only do either 2 maneuvers or 1 maneuver and 1 action. Now you can do 2 actions because you have double the arms than the rest of these schmucks. Or you can choose to parry several close quarters attacks in the same round. It costs you 1 mutation point for every parry after the first one, because you can parry in combat. Once again, I realized I should have explained the combat system before going here, but here we are. And you can easily climb things. You can spend 1 mutation point to roll... Wait. Oh yeah, instead of rolling to move when you're trying to climb up things, you can just spend 1 mutation point and do it easily, because you have double the arms. You have so many arms and so many more fingers than anyone else. Or mustache and hair fibers, I guess. The other one is Lux Being, which means that you are similar to fireflies and certain fishes that lives that exude light. That's not
Yeah.
the right word, but that
Emit.
gives off
Emit.
emit. Thank you. That emits light. You can shine like the sun and blind a victim within short distance. The victim has to act as if in total darkness. The effect lasts in as many rounds as the number of mutation points that you're using. You're basically a flashbang. I know, I've played a character like this and I flashbanged people. It went great. Or you can use it to disperse darkness up to short distance from you in within a couple of minutes. They don't use like specific numbers, by the way. It just says in a few minutes, and like it's an applied shrug, and it costs you 1 mutation point. Or you can bend light around you and become unclear in a round. You can you can remove yourself from conflict without having to run without having to run move. It costs you 1 mutation point. So you can bend the light around you to become unclear, and means that you can get out without having to roll for it. Forearmed, fair enough.
Well, it is forewarned.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's gonna go with the moustache.
I mean, it's
I've just got
It's-
visions.
pretty cool. It's pretty. I would
I
like
can
it.
see him doing it.
But instead of like an actual massage, it is just 2 small arms flexing constantly.
Because prehensile moustache.
That would be so 2000 AD Mutant.
Yes.
In
Yep.
Judge Dredd or the latest Strontium Dog stuff. That's the kind of things.
Also,
Yes.
no weapons. Yeah, good point.
Yes, you don't have any weapons at the moment. You can use your bullets to buy equipment, which include weapons. That you all can do that. But I think that's something we're going to do off stream, because it includes a lot of looking at tables and me having to translate more things.
Okay.
I think it
Then I
also
might
involves having rolled more than 2 bullets.
Is it just
And
me?
I will be taking anything else.
Anybody else have a vision? If you know the prehensile moustache wrapped around 2 very small swords.
Yes, it's tiny as a sword. Just
Yes.
two needles, 2 hat needles.
Yes.
Amazing.
Don't mess with a
yes.
hat pin, by the way. 12 inches
Oh, yeah.
long.
Yeah,
Frequently.
no, it'll fuck you up.
Hat pins are nasty.
They are.
Yeah.
They do in Castle Falkenstein. They do as much damage as a dagger.
Makes sense.
So that's worth knowing.
Yeah.
Just even slimmer stilettos.
Yes. Yeah.
I should also mention, death is a thing that can definitely happen and will probably happen in the system. When you reach 0, once again, when you reach 0 in any of your attributes, certain effects will come into effect, and to be able to heal that, you need to spend 4 hours, and also do certain requirements to get even 1 point back in your attributes. For example, with empathy, you need to spend 4 hours resting, as well as having like some form of camaraderie or close talk to someone,
Okay.
feel a little better, to get your empathy back, for example. And for strength, it's food. For agility, you literally just need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
No, wait. For agility, you need to drink water. For wits, you need to go to sleep for 4 hours. But that also means that when you reach 0 in strength, you also get a critical damage, which means that you roll on the table, and 2 of the results are just death.
Yeah. I'm guessing this is the same table as the one in Coriolis, which you
I
guys
think it's
escaped quite
very
nicely.
similar.
It's got some very easy to die options.
Yes, some of them are that you die in a couple of minutes, and some of them are that you're just dead.
I do remember Meki's character giving me a long talking to when I was quietly gibbering after getting grabbed by assorted plants. So yeah, that rings a bell.
And that was because I was spending darkness points. That wasn't the.
You
the
were just
critical hit.
desperate to kill us.
Yeah. Listen, I don't have
You've got
like
darkness
the system
points
doesn't
left open that I
require
didn't
darkness
use.
points.
Okay.
I went into you really. I
Yeah.
just spent them.
Yeah, and I mean this system doesn't require you to spend darkness point. You just be like that naturally. Like the natural state of being a DM for this game is spending darkness points. Bad things will happen, and either you live or you won't. Well, what was it? Shoot.
Yep. A
Or
very
not.
Swedish game. Everybody's gonna die horribly.
Listen, like either you queue for
Lock
4
shot
hours
or
or
not,
you.
that was it.
Yeah, lock shot or not. Yeah.
Okay, so mutation points. How many do we start with?
You start with the number of mutations you have, so you'll start with 2 mutation
Okay.
points. I might retcon that and give you a couple more because I would because since we're just playing a one shot and not a long game, having you use your mutations more freely could be more fun. Could also allow you to and that's also because I really just want you to have your mutations. What's the word? I closed Google Translate. Give me a second.
Okay.
What do you mean there's no? Okay, that's not the word. Okay, sure. Yeah, there's no good word for it that I know of. Yes, because basically whenever you use your mutations, there's a 1 in 6 chance that it will go wrong,
Oh, good.
and I'd like to see that happen.
Hazardous is the word you're looking for. Very hazardous.
Yes, it's not the exact word I'm looking for,
It's
but
close
there's
enough.
yeah.
Risk.
Yeah, your no, like your mutation just goes haywire in certain cases because mutations are, even if they're ingrained in your DNA, they're not very well ingrained in your DNA. In a certain extent.
By
It's
definition,
DNA.
the DNA is unstable, or you wouldn't have mutations.
Yeah. Fish
Yeah.
on fire.
Kind of like that. Yeah, and that basically means that for every mutation point you spend, you have to roll a d6. And if you roll a 6 on that d6, something happens. Backfire! Backfire is the word!
Okay.
It's someone typed it in chat.
Well
Yes.
done, Nicky.
Thank you, Nicky.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Nice
you very
one.
much. And the backfire is like your mutation still happens, and something else.
Okay.
It's generally the things. And that could also include things like having you mutate again.
Oh,
And other
wacko.
things,
It's
stuff
happening
like
again.
Yeah. That being said, I spent 2 years playing a mutant character, and I only had 1 mutation for 2 years.
All right.
I think the last 2 months I got another one. Anyway, is there anything we're wondering about? Anything we're considering? I think a lot of it will be pretty self-explanatory once we start playing the game.
I'm okay with this so far. This seems fairly, as you say, fairly self-explanatory.
Yeah.
I'm very much
It's-
looking forward to playing these guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
At least for as long as they live.
Yep.
I didn't
It's
sound looking
entertaining
forward to playing
place.
them for long.
Yeah.
Death on
Yes. It's a
It's a game that
entertaining
requires you
game.
to roll 6s. What are the odds on me getting anywhere in it?
Oh no, you roll 6s when you roll your mutation.
Yeah. Yeah. The system itself, once again, is very straightforward, pretty simple, and it doesn't require you to roll it often. Combat, you roll initiative, which is just a d6, and then you go in that turn. There's an entire thing with like parry, but I read it yesterday at 4 a.m., so I don't quite remember it. So I'll brush up on that, because I had no idea parry was a thing when I was playing. 7 years ago. But yes, so... Yeah. Did you have a name, Knight?
Yes. Reimer.
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 I'm gonna ask you all to just type your names in the Discord.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing the usual thing when I'm writing down notes for... that I type it out how I think of them, and so maybe I'll at least pronounce it correctly, but it's nowhere near.
No worries.
Sweet. Parting with mustache. Excellent. Yeah. Is there anything else worth considering, or are we have we just finished session 0 of Mutant Year 0?
The only thing I would say is the relationships, which is a
Yes.
pickle roll, if I
Yes.
recall correctly. That's picking really weird accents there. Sorry.
I've already made up a relationship with Swan Purser.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're my rot buddy.
Yeah, I was listing you as a
You
buddy.
find me all my rot.
Yes.
You're just out in the zone sniffing rot together.
Yeah. 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 I'm sniffing rot, and then I'm just going, "You go get it, and we'll wait here, and then I'll be able to tell when it's gone." It's all
Yes,
fine.
because being zone stalkers, like once again, you're like
Okay.
the other mutants probably don't leave the arc that often. While your two, that's what you do. That's your job, is leaving the arc and hoping you come back, and hopefully come back with something good. Because the arc is constantly in a state of either infighting, or running out of resources, or just imploding in on itself. Like it's a settlement that still like holds together. Like that is still like it's a close knit settlement, and everyone knows everyone, and everyone is trying to be friends.
Okay.
But also, if someone looks at you wrong, I mean, things go off. The elder is the head of the settlement, but he also has bosses underneath him, and the elder is old, ancient, and also him slowly dying, either by rot or by just having been alive for too long. Which means that the bosses usually have some form of like people want power in situations where resources are scarce. People want power, but people also want to stay alive, and sometimes strength in numbers really do matter, and people have different abilities to bring to the table, which also means that cooperation at some point is needed and necessary.
Yeah.
But
the idea of
the less
partying with a
people-
mustache, by the way, Shard. I'm sorry.
Given that cooperation is absolutely necessary for the survival of the Ark and the people in it, is it okay that 2 of the 3 relationships I've written down for the other PCs basically say I don't like them?
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Yeah, I mean you don't have to like your work colleagues, and that's usually the way things shake out. And I mean, the less mutants, the less mouth to feed. In the actual campaign, there's actually a thing for picking out the exact number of inhabitants in the Ark and just having that number increasingly go down throughout the campaign.
Wow.
Because there is no way for... I actually looked it up. Shard pointed this out yesterday, and I had no idea because we hadn't played on it. But mutants can't procreate, so there's no new mutants, except people coming from other settlements, which is very rare because, once again, people often don't stray too far, because the zone is dangerous and you will probably die.
Yeah.
Which means that people die, people get shot, people... Probably not shot because bullets are expensive, literally. But they get stabbed, or like grievances happen, or they just hunger to death, or the rot takes them. Or there's so many ways to die.
Oh dear. I just realised I've written down. It's not that I don't like the other PCs. It's just that Gemmel I've got down as I find him rotten, he eats it.
Yeah.
Reimer.
It's a relationship of convenience.
Yeah. Reimer, his dog looks at me funny. And Mr. Moon talks a lot and is very noisy.
That's actually very similar to the relationship I've got down for Mr. Moon, which is, when will he just shut up?
Uh-huh.
And for Reimer, I've got maybe closer to a dog than a mutant.
Talking about the guy that's got lizard abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I don't know the difference between lizards and dogs. I've never seen either.
Well, you've seen the dog.
You bloody
Well,
kobold.
Well,
Uh,
I-
Dog? Kobold.
Also, important to
Okay.
point out, encumbrance is a thing as well.
Oh,
You can
damn.
only carry 2 times. You can only carry the amount.
2 times strength?
Twice your strength
Uh-huh.
is the amount of stuff junk you can carry.
Heavy items count double.
Yes, and certain heavy items actually count 3 times. You have this. You can on the character sheets you have gear,
Mhm.
and generally one gear take up 1 row, and you can only have as many rows as twice your strength score.
Do bullets, grub, and water take up slots?
No,
there?
Bullets
they do
don't,
not.
but grub and water. Well, according to the quick start, 4 rations of grub or water count as 1 item.
You're absolutely correct. I just haven't read it far. I've
hate
skimmed
you,
the book.
fish.
Now,
I've skimmed it. How can it possibly be?
it all
Um,
depends, I suppose, on how mean Felix wants to be.
Like,
Whether
listen-
we add water and grub together and divide by 4, or treat them each separately, because I've got an extra item's worth if I add them together.
I think added together they just make sense. Like sometimes you have your food pocket. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, and certain gear only takes up half a row.
Okay, I can't actually carry anything. Because I can only carry 4 things. That's it.
Yeah.
That's literally it, if water
Yeah.
counts. Well,
Yep.
that sucks.
Good thing you're not the aspect finder. You just have to work out a deal with someone who can either carry your stuff for you, or that has extra
Yeah.
pockets or something like that.
We're definitely going to need. I think maybe a sled or something.
If only you knew someone that was
Put the
reasonably
stuff on.
strong and had a pet they could
And had a
strap things
dog.
to.
That's why we
A
keep
dog to pull
them.
the sled even.
Yes.
Or someone with, I don't know, 2 arms and 2 very weird appendages coming out from his underneath his nose.
I'm not messing with his appendages. In general, I'm not messing with his appendages.
And you know what? Fuck it. There is a thing as well to create like 2 what's the word? NPCs is the word that I'm looking for.
Right, yes.
It's a weird word to forget because I use that more than the Swedish term, but for some reason it left me. I've been reading too much Swedish. It's
That's all right.
kind of, but yeah. So you see on the relationship sheet there is I hate and I need to protect. Those are meant for NPCs. So if you
NPCs.
would like to create some NPCs that live in the Ark with you, feel free to write them down and send them my way. I guess I might use them, I might not. There's a one shot. I don't really care.
Yeah,
Well,
fair
the
enough.
wonderful thing about one shots is if they go down well with both the players and in our case the audience, they might potentially evolve into something longer.
I mean, potentially. The thing is, I am a very bad DM when it comes to dedication to a campaign. That's my issue. So
We all
maybe,
have that
maybe
issue,
not.
I think.
I know that feeling. I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or attention deficit disorder, if you want to call it hyperactivity, which they do half the time. And that means I'm constantly looking for new games to play, at the expense of the poor sods who are trying to play the game I'm already running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which is why I tend to just go for being a player, because I know I have the attention span for that, because it means I can focus on one character and nothing else.
I can't even do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
Like, while I'm DMing, I need to think more.
Yeah.
But maybe Mutant is different. Like once again, I can't really like explain the love I have for this setting in this campaign. It was one of the first pen and paper games I actually did a campaign in, long before I even did D&D or Pathfinder or any of that jazz. It was Mutant Year Zero. We played for like 2 years every week. And then we just stopped and started playing Coriolis, and then we stopped after like 2 months, and now we're playing D&D. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is sounding great fun. I'm looking forward to playing these guys.
excellent.
By the way, yes, I have gone with army boots, red cloak. Basically, I'm dressed like the lead from Shardlight,
Cool.
because
Nothing
why
wrong
the
with
hell
that.
not? I want a cloak, damn it. I'm allowed. Okay, so
Ooh, yeah.
if we've basically hit the stage
Yep.
where everything else is going to be done offline.
Yeah, I think we might be done,
Okay.
actually. Once again, unless there's any questions or thoughts about the settings, or just if there's any, like, nitpicks or anything you want to add about the arc, or, like, how you fit into it, or anything like that, share it.
I'm kind of thinking at the moment I need to have a think about this
That's fair.
in a bit more detail, because this is all
Yeah.
completely new for me.
Yeah.
So, anyone else?
Can you remind me on gear again? So we can carry as much gear as twice our strength,
Yes.
and food and water both count as 1 slot each.
It's
No,
four
four.
per
Sorry?
slot. 4 rations per slot, so
okay.
4 water or 4 grub, or
Yeah.
2 water and 2 grub. What I've done is rather than just having the total numbers, I've now split mine and put 4 on each slot on
That's
the
what I
carriage,
was doing, yeah.
so that I can see how much I'm carrying. Gives me 1 encumbrance slot open after I then add my rifle on top.
Yeah. Which means, equipment might not actually be viable for any of you. Except that I think armor might not actually count. I'll look that up.
Yeah,
Oh,
you know,
armor would be good.
tiny
Yeah.
items. Tiny, I'm going with
Tiny items like bullets don't count.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I love post-apocalyptic stuff anyway, so Mutant Year Zero immediately is a system that appealed to me the moment I heard about it. I love the other games in the same family, because there are source books that have been done as standalone games essentially. So there's GenLab Alpha, which is the Mutant Animals Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles version of this, and that's a completely playable game on its own. You play all mutants, or you can put the two together and you can have mutants and mutant animals in the same thing. And there's a third one which I can't remember what it's called, possibly.
I know the Swedish word for it. I don't know if that maskinarium. Maskinarium. It's a weird word. They like weird words, alright? Yeah, and there's the elusive one as well. Which is...
Yeah.
Machinaria. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, how the hell did I get that?
I have no idea.
that was a run up. Okay, I need
yeah.
a sled. I need to pull along something.
Yeah.
Would now be the time
The
where I
last
mentioned
one,
that
the
I've got a
elusive,
couple of
is basically
slots
rocks
free.
fall out.
So, how do you feel?
Because you've got to remember, you're carrying a dog, and that's heavy, so it counts as 2
It's not.
slots.
I think you'll find dogs carry themselves. Last I checked.
That depends on whether or not they try to bite me.
Can
and
we
I
roll
break their legs.
mutations for the dogs,
Yeah.
please? I think the dog deserves tendrils or something.
I mean, of course, yeah. Like the cat from Katamava. No, there is also the ability, because you do have like a place where you sleep, a den, as they call it in the sheet. You can stash items there as well.
That makes sense.
For example, if you don't want to carry all your crop with you, would recommend. But like, for example, like, because you're most likely going to start at the Ark, which means that you will have the ability to maybe not carry everything with you, or maybe then and there make a deal with someone to carry some of your food in exchange for some food.
If you know, are rations equivalent? So is it that you use the same number of grub and water per day, or do you go through water faster?
No, it's the same. So you spend 1 ration of water and 1 ration of food per day.
Okay.
So
Thank
it makes sense
God.
in my case to not necessarily carry the excess water.
Yeah.
Yes.
The same amount of water and grub would be that's rations for that many days expedition.
Yes. Or you could maybe. Water is a good thing to have otherwise for
Yeah, I mean,
trade.
water. You need water more than you need food.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
Once again, like, you can use food and water to get back attributes with the rest as well.
Yeah. I'm just basically going to be asking somebody to carry my water for me. I suspect, because I've got 2 of them. I've added
I'm
my
going to be
stuff
spending bullets to buy more water as it is.
Well, maybe we can make a deal.
Yeah.
I will give you some water in return for your dog carrying the rest for me.
Yeah. We definitely need panniers for your dog.
Oh, that yes, we definitely need
How many
panniers.
bullets
Saddlebags.
for panniers?
Yeah. Dog meat needs saddlebags.
Goose?
Oh my
God.
No, I refuse to call Goose dog meat, because dog meat was the dog in Fallout 4,
Yeah.
Oh.
and this dog is definitely Goose.
This is a better dog. This dog is better. It might die, it might not die.
Well, if it's
Goose,
called...
it's going to die. That is the fate of all people called Goose.
It is.
Film and television.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course,
These
because
guns
Goose
will
in
go.
No, Goose didn't die in Mad Max, did he?
Um,
He had a very nasty throat injury, but he didn't die.
No, Goose didn't die in Mad Max. Goose, however, in
Top
That's
Gun.
right. Yeah,
Top
he
Gun.
didn't actually die in Mad Max. He just wished he was dead.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
difference.
And then he went off and got the job at ER, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yes.
Yes.
Your face, yes, Shards. My face gun will carry my water. Yeah, yeah. So, like, listen, Shard doesn't need a rifle or a gun. He got guns.
Oh boy. Right.
Yeah.
This is just brilliantly surreal. I love it.
It's a very quirky game. There's a lot of humor when you're trying to survive
Thank God.
in a terrible, terrible, terrible world.
So, am I right in thinking it's Witcher next week?
It is Witcher this week.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday.
We're on Wednesday,
Yes.
yes.
We're not on
Sorry, just
Sunday
getting
yet.
confused by being on the wrong day.
It is
yeah.
Witcher on Sunday.
can't do-
Don't say Friday, Druck, because it's not Friday. God, you got me
Witcher.
doing that now. When we will be presumably you'll be taking a great interest in who threw a bomb at you.
Everyone
No,
should-
listen, I'll be waking up among a couple of shares. That's what I'll be doing.
And I'll be apologising to everyone.
For existing in Nilfgaardian scum.
No.
I think I would be looking into getting a new design of windows that don't have that beam down the middle. Don't have to get there, the grenade would have gone back out.
Yes.
The Nilfgaardian scum has fecked off.
Yes. Yeah, the
This is
Nilfgaardian
the early-looking guy that just sort of
blew everybody across the
blew
room.
everyone around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes. Yeah, looking forward to that. I have no idea what you guys are going to do next, so we're going to keep it nice and flexible.
Hey, neither do we.
That's
So
fine.
we're really on this level playing field.
I will know who's doing what and where, and then I will just let you guys play in that playground. Which is pretty much how I just GM. Okay,
Amazing.
so
Cool.
I think we can call that there as we come up
Yeah.
just gone to 2 hours. So, thank
Yes,
you, Felix.
Thank you very much for allowing me to ramble on about one of my favorite settings for 2 hours, 3 hours? What is time?
Yeah, it's all good.
Exist?
We should add that we're not sure when we're actually going to be playing this.
Yeah. I'm thinking that basically in slot 3 Shard currently has a one-off planned for Eclipse phase, so it seems either after that or if either Wars or Witcher come to a natural season break in the case of Witcher, or end in the case of Wars for this run, basically whenever the next gap comes up.
Yes.
Seems likely, if that's reasonable.
In the case of wars, do you mean because everybody's dead?
Because everybody's there. We've been
It was doing
convinced.
that bad.
We have been convinced everybody's going to die from the get-go.
I haven't convinced you of a thing.
No, you haven't convinced
Intentionally.
us. We've convinced us we're going to rip each other's heads off.
Just be like that.
Possibly literally.
But yeah, so Drat, let me know when I'm allowed to bring this chaos into the world,
Yeah,
and bring chaos upon you.
yeah, we will keep track. And yeah, the next slot that comes up free, it is yours. So yeah,
Nice, I'll take it.
I'm looking
Cool.
forward to this.
yes.
That's 2 games that I've been wanting to play now, being this and Eclipse Phase from Shard. And both of them are on my I really want to play these games lists, so I'm really looking forward to both of them.
Happy bunny.
Yeah.
And what it does mean is more games where you, myself, and Drut are playing
I'm actually
rather
getting
than one of us
paid.
being GM.
Yes, always
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you say good. Probably a blinding nightmare for the GM.
Don't say that. It's fine. I've handled worse. I
fine.
think.
Okay, so right, we'll call it there then. And so yes, thank you very much. This is going to be great fun. And we will see you again on this channel on Sunday at 6:30 for The Witcher. Yay. And the dreadfully...
Thank you again to Troll Lord Games for the raid.
Yeah,
Indeed, thank you.
absolutely. Thank you so much. That was a
Yeah, thank you.
surprise. Caught us on the hop. And yeah, so Knight is on tomorrow on his own channel, drumming from 5:30 till about 8.
Yep.
And then from 8 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be playing Dishonored on my channel. Hopefully finishing it up, she says optimistically.